You can see Uchichukwu Witness, Isaiah Ubeke, and who? Thanks for joining. Welcome, 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 everyone. All right. You can see Mobolaji has joined us. All right. Thank you for joining. We'll just give everyone, this is 4:03. So just give everyone about 5 minutes between 4:05 to 4:10 to join. And once we've reached that time, then we'll hand it over to the facilitator for today's session. But before then, once it's 4:05, we'll just start walking you through what to expect for today and why today's webinar is extra special. Because at the end of the webinar, we'll be playing a youth game. Our facilitator, like we've been mentioning to you all week, all month long, is a very experienced professional in marketing and communications over 18 years in 5 multinationals. So for next week, we'll be bringing out this precious time to mentor some of the lucky entrepreneurs and startup and founders here one-on-one from Monday to Friday. So please stay attentive, and when it's time, we can play the game and you get to win this opportunity. Thank you for joining, and let's keep tight. All right. Thank you, everyone. I can see you guys already joining in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope we had a great week ahead, a great week already. And as we're coming down to the end of the week, I would like to know how your week has been, how your day has been. what challenges you faced. If you'd like to share it with us, we welcome that. Tell us how your week has been, how your day went, um, any challenges so far in your personal or professional life, and what you hope to gain from today's session. So, anyone willing to tell us about their day? I don't want to call names, so if you're on the call, you can just unmute. I think everyone has the ability to unmute their mic, correct? So you can just unmute and tell us how your day went and what you hope to gain from today's session. Like I said earlier, we have a very special guest in our midst, um, Amy, who is a marketing and communications professional with over 18 years experience across 5 multinationals. So today's session is going to be packed, and I can assure you all after the end of today's session, we'll be well enriched and equipped in growing our startup, our businesses, and our ideas, making it grow, making it fly, and making sure that we're established. Thank you, everyone. Now, let's get into it. So this is 408. So we can kick off with this session. What we are going to learn from today's session. But before we start, let's talk about Lintna EdTech Circle or EdTech Circle by Lintna in this case. So about Lintna, Lintna is the brainchild of ICT Africa, which is a development consulting firm with clear capacity managing device projects across the continent, especially in the international development space. Lintna is dedicated to empowering EdTech founders and training organizations by providing them with the essential resources for growth and scalability. So whether you're an EdTech founder, you're an entrepreneur, or you work within the learning and development space, Lintna has the resources, and we develop the resources to help you to ensure that you have all you need to grow your academy, grow your innovative idea, and also grow as a founder on your organization. Please confirm you can still see my screen. No.
No, we can't.
Allegedly, can you?
No, I can't.
So, all right. Give me a second. All right. Um, Allegedly, can you confirm if you can see it now?
Yes, I can. Now it's gone.
Can you see it now?
It's coming up.
Yeah.
So,
You can see it, right?
yes, I can.
All right, great. Thank you. So with our community, the Lintna EdTech community is a community with a vision to create a vibrant ecosystem from professionals all over the world, especially in Africa. So no matter where you are in Africa, um, whether Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Mauritius, South Africa, Morocco, Lintna is a community that you're welcome to be part of. So That's why we decided, we in Ability and decided to create this community. So where we can all come together, learn, grow, and innovate. So what are the perks of joining Lintna? What do you stand to gain if you join Lintna as an EdTech founder or as a learning and development professional? First of all, we have training opportunities, just like this one we're about to begin very soon. So this and others as well. This type of webinars are part of the training that we have, whereby we speak to our community to ensure that they have the requisite knowledge to enable them grow. We also have our networking sessions whereby we bring different people from from all walks of life to come and discuss about how to grow and also improve the education and technology space across the continents. Our technology infrastructure, which is our LMS, the Lintna LMS, is a white labeling solution that enables academic founders, enables startup founders to develop their own academy from scratch with your own branding, and also helps you to also teach your user. Also for our organizations with dedicated L&D departments, with our infrastructure, with our LMS, the Lintna LMS infrastructure, able to build it in-house, keep it in-house, and train your team virtually. We also have funding opportunities like the one we held last year with our Lintna EdTech Bootcamp 1.0, whereby we trained, there was a networking session, and of course with the use of our technology infrastructure. And after that, the top two winners walked away with funding after the program. And of course, our mentorship session. After this session, some winners will also have an opportunity to have a one-on-one mentorship with our facilitator. So these are some of the benefits that you gain from joining the Lintna community. Like I mentioned, our technology infrastructure, which is the Lintna LMS, so it's a white label e-learning solution that empowers organizations and businesses to seamlessly create courses, manage their users, and also do customization to suit their needs. So you can see on the screen, allows you to make payments. There's a live class integration and cost management, and of course, platform and user management. So you can see our aim and objective. So Lintna's aim is to empower over 500 EdTech startups in Nigeria, like yours on the call, and others in our community and across the continent, helping the EdTech innovators strengthen their core businesses and build capacity enough for profitability and sustainability. Another aim is to create opportunities to and facilitate access to funding for startups to grow their businesses into credible organizations through our collaboration and partnerships, and of course our community where we foster that growth with everyone involved. So we thank Cassie Advanced Education Industry. And now today, man of the hour, the man of the day, Oluwamuyemi Orimolade, is a marketing and communications expert, and will be taking us on the topic from side hustle to startup, building your passion projects. And who is Yemi? So Oluwamuyemi Orimolade is a marketing and communications consultant with over 18 years of corporate experience across 5 multinational corporations, including Microsoft, Lafarge, Samsung, and Toyota. His expertise lies at the intersection of marketing, communications, AI, and storytelling, which helps him make brands translate complex ideas into compelling narratives that resonate with their audiences. As a consultant, he manages strategic thinking with creative storytelling to help brands navigate the evolving digital landscape. So, like again, the marketing and communication consultant. So, throughout this session, he's going to use this skill set. You can see using storytelling to ensure that all we will learn today are things that we'll be able to assimilate and also put back into our ventures to help us grow, and also ensure that we build profitable business in the long run. So, thank you so much for being patient. And now I'll hand it over to our facilitator for the day. They need to take over. Hi, Yemi. How are you doing? Welcome on board. Can you hear me?
Hi, I'm very well. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear too. Welcome on the call. Glad to have you with us today.
Yeah. Okay, nice one. Let me see. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Thanks for, for the platform. So I have some few minutes to get this done, but I will try as much as possible to make it very engaging, and just speak to the, how do I call it, the subject or the topic for the day, right? So here before me, obviously, is to walk you through why most of us, we need to start shifting and start having possibilities around what we see as our side hustle and how we can actually make it as, as a big deal. It becomes your own startup. I always try as much as possible to also tell people that your passion, let's make your passion fly, like make your passion project fly. And for today, I will be speaking extensively, but I'll just try to play around something that I've called the flight framework, and just tell or draw stories from two individuals, one or maybe even the two, you guys may know, because these are people who, over the years have become household names, depending on where you sit or what industry you find yourself in. So that's it. So it's going to be from side hustle to startup, making your passion project fly. Next slide, please, right? I know that there has been an introduction of myself, so I'm going to just give you something about me, right? And if you like, you like. If you hate, you hate. It's your. So yes, I have over 18 years of corporate experience across research, marketing, communication, PR, philanthropies, like everything, right? That has to do with marketing and communication as a whole, right? But I think more importantly for me is how I've been able to navigate across 5 multinationals, right? In 4 industry verticals. When I always say 4 industry verticals, people find it difficult to understand. So take, for example, if I had worked in FMCG all my life, you understand, you say, okay, I'm an FMCG guru. But what I've done is that I've worked across different industries, right? I've done automobile, I've done consumer electronics, I have done cement, and I've also done technology. And I think Marvelous had mentioned some of these brands that I had worked in. So Toyota, Subaru, which is automobile, Samsung Electronics, which is consumer electronics, Lafarge, which is cement, and technology, which is Microsoft, right? I have an MBA in marketing. Let me leave it there. I'm a husband and a daddy, right? I have a 14-year-old, and I also have a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old male and a 12-year-old female. I tell people I'm so proud to support the best football club ever, right? But the truth of the matter is that this season, we'll wait for next season to win the EPL. I'm a super Ghana fan. So if you like it, you like. If you hate it, you hate. But super proud of that team. Right. What else should you know? I love playing chess and I listen to Afrobeat genre of music. Big fan of Weezy, Burna, Davido, Kiss Daniel, and the whole gang. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. So you have an understanding of my personality, who I am, where I'm coming from. And I hear you, the Man U fan. Thank you so much. We all wait for next season to see if we will try to win the EPL, right? So next, yeah. So let's go into the next slide. Thank you very much. This is marvelous. Next. Thank you. Great. So why this topic, right? And the reason why I'm saying why this topic, from your side hustle to your startup, why the topic? Because most often than not, our side hustle is something that we love to do, something we are passionate about, something that even at times, if we don't get paid for, we will still do it. Now, the question here is, how do we convert that into a startup? Because the truth of the matter is, think about it. If you are solving a problem or you are providing a solution to a challenge, there are multiple people out there providing that service to, right? So just like I would always say, whatever thing or problem or whatever thing that you see that you're currently doing as a side gig, let's also try to extend it a little and try to build something out of it. So for this conversation, it's always going to be a struggle where many talented individuals, struggle to turn their passion into a scalable business, right? It's just a struggle. We don't just think about the fact that, oh, this thing that I love doing, how can I convert it? So it's an inborn struggle that we try as much as possible to battle with. So that is why we are talking about this today, to understand that it's a struggle. Fine, it's not a problem if it's a struggle. We understand it is a struggle. That is why we are here. All right. The second is that it's a that is, whether in business, whether in entertainment, whether in sport, whether in edtech, whether in anything, there is a pattern that how to switch from that hustle to a startup, right? There's always a pattern it follows. And I feel that this conversation that we are having today, we will see those patterns and we'll be able to identify and say, hey, based on this, let me go this way. Based on this, let me go that way. And finally, we would leverage the flight plan framework, right? And what is the flight plan framework? It just provides a roadmap how you would move from that your side gig to a startup, right? And how we have said it is that there's always going to be the lift up, there's always going to when you gain altitude and when you soar. Obviously, when you lift up, there is so much pressure. Just think about it when you want to take off in an airplane. There is so much energy, pressure, speed that goes into that your lift up, right? But when you lift up with that so much energy and pressure, you see the plane is trying to gain altitude, it does the one or two obstacles, then it gains stability, then it starts soaring, right? Let's look at it from that standpoint in terms of how you would move that your side gig, into a startup using the flight plan framework. Next slide, thank you. Right. So what's the flight plan framework overview? It has a structured approach, and the flight plan framework is a structured approach to transition from your passion-driven hustle into a full-fledged scalable startup. It has 3 phases. It mirrors the journey of flight, where every successful launch requires careful planning, momentum, and strategic navigation. Now, that's grammar. So understand the fact that you need to launch, but before you launch, you need to plan ahead, right? Okay, what do we need to do per time? How do we position ourselves per time? What product are we bringing? What problem are we solving? Who are we speaking to? Who is our target audience and all that, right? Then how you strategically navigate your way through this. This is all grammar, right? But we say in real sense, how does this really work? It's just a very short time we have. We will try as much as possible to put those basic nuggets, just like I told Marvelous, open to have a one-on-one conversation with individuals next week, maybe a few hours a day, and over the next 5 days, so we can do a deep dive into it. So understand that framework, right? That as you launch, it requires you to plan, you also need to stabilize, then how you strategically navigate through either how do you make my product more visible, how am I telling or how am I talking about the brand, and how am I meeting the needs of the people that needs the product, right? So let's jump into the first stage on the next slide, which speaks to the takeoff. Or next slide, please. Thank you. Is one that I would simply say that what you first need to do is a mindset shift. What we say, have a growth mindset set. How you are able to move your mindset that this thing or this side gig that I'm using as a hobby, how can I convert it to money making? First and foremost, your mind needs to shift. You can't be doing the same thing the same way and expect something different. No way. What you need to do at this time is that there will be a shift in thought process. How are you ensuring that what you currently are doing, how can you make money off it? Or how can you make it commercially viable, right? So the first thing you need to achieve at the point of you trying to move your side gig to a scalable startup is first and foremost a mindset shift, right? Then the next is to validate demand, to ensure that what you are putting out, will people be ready to pay for it, right? Will people be ready to pay for it? What problem are you trying to solve? That is one. Two, as you solve that problem, will people want to remove money from their pocket and say, thank you for this? What I always tell people is very simple. Money is not to be value, it's what you say, it's an exchange for value. And I tell people that, look, as an individual, if you are adding value, money will find you. So as you think about validating the demand of your product or your service or your side gig, think about it from a standpoint of how is this adding value? Okay, right? The next is define your UVP, your unique value proposition. So this comes hand in hand. As you think about what you want to solve, what differentiates you? Okay, what differentiates you? Right? There was a year, just like I was speaking to somebody last year, I think last night, and I said in the cement industry some few years ago, like 10 years ago, when you go to buy cement way back 10 years ago, people paid 3 years ahead for their cement before they get it, right? And there was a disruption at some point in time. Dangote, who used to be a transporter to Lafarge or Elephants, people then started importing cement. Today, he has numerous factories that they are currently producing cement, right? When I joined Lafarge at that time in my life, right, cement is cement. Cement is cement. But when we had more supply than demand from a cement standpoint, we started saying, what is the differentiating, what would differentiate our brand from other brands? Why or what should we be doing that people, when they go to buy cement, they will literally ask that they wanted to buy the Elephant brand of cement. So in whatever product or services or solution that you are bringing to bear, And if there are numerous people also trying to bring that same solution, what makes you different? We call it UVP, your unique value proposition. So as you think about the mindset, how you validate the demand, why should people pay for this? Also think about why or what makes what I'm bringing to the table different. Then fourth, from a lift-off standpoint, you need to identify scalable income streams beyond just the trading of time. How creative can you be in terms of ensuring that no money or nothing is left on the table, right? You understand? You have to be creative enough to say that, how do we make money from the word go? Right? So let's move on. So from a lift off standpoint, which is the phase one, these are the things you need to put up here. The mindset shift, validate the demand, define what differentiates you and your revenue model. How well will you make money, right? So in phase two, which is obviously the gain altitude, and this is where a lot of things happen. So at that first phase, you are literally struggling to breathe, to find, just to get yourself, right? At the phase two, which is gaining altitude, what you are doing at this phase is, okay, what are the things that I do repetitively that I want to automate or I want to delegate? When you start, you don't start with a 200-man team, or you don't start with a 500-man team, or you don't start with even a 40 or even 30-man team. What you normally will do is that you will start on your own. Then over time, you start getting people to support you part-time. So what does this mean? It means that as the team begin to stabilize, as things start stabilizing in your organization, or as you start getting traction, what do you want to automate? Today, there is so many tools, right, that have already been developed from an AI perspective that can help you automate everything that you need to do, from developing slides to building strategy, to writing communications plan, to coming up with fantastic creatives for flyers and all. There are tools that help you, even tools for podcasts, tools for infographics, all these exist, tools for creating documentaries, right? So the question you'll be asking yourself, okay, how do you automate your processes and how do you delegate, right? The next, obviously, is your brand story and positioning. If there's anything that I'm going to hamper on, right, it is your brand story and positioning. How well are you telling the story of your brand? I would say it any day, anytime. Nobody will help you talk about what you do than you saying it yourself. How have you positioned in the front of your consumers, in front of your stakeholders, right? How well are you putting your brand story and how are you positioning well? Third, what are your marketing engines, right? How are you leveraging organic content, partnerships, and what your paid advert and things are? What are your engines? How are you ensuring that your product is being seen, is being heard, and there is a decision by a client to pay for it, right? We always say there is adverts, there is promotion, there is PR, there is sales, right? You see, that whole ecosystem is what is called marketing, because I would expose you to the brand, I will promote the brand, I will do publicity for the brand, I will do PR. And obviously, we know that PR here doesn't necessarily mean bringing money and sharing money with people. PR is what we call public relations, where third-party people would speak on behalf of your product and services, right? And at the end of the day, it is for the consumer to take a purchasing decision. That whole gamut of things is what we call the marketing engine. Then obviously, finally, how are your financial systems? Separate businesses and plan for reinvestment. Most of us we make small money, we whack it, Then we will look for where the next money is coming from. Let's don't do it that way. Let's make money. Let's see how we can turn that money to bring in more money. I run a small cooperative, and when people do not take loans and stuff like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a problem. Because what we would do is, okay, if people are not collecting loans, which is one way of making money for the cooperative, I said, so how can we take our money to make money for us? Right? So how are you reinvesting? How are you ensuring that even if there is a law or if there's a law in product purchase, the money you have at your bear and core, how well are you reinvesting it to bring in money for you? And that is the phase 2, which is gain altitude. Phase 1, you lift up, you already know what differentiates you, you know the product, you know your what differentiates you, and of course, you know how you manage things here and there. But obviously, phase 2 is how you are gaining altitude, you know, automate, brand story, marketing engine, and your financial system. The third phase is when you soar. Now you lift off, you gain altitude. Now you want to get the best of the stability in terms of what you are doing. Then your team expands. Now you start hiring for growth, not just to survive. Now you start looking for who are the best guys that would help me, saying, hey, let's start hiring for growth. Let's start hiring for new things, because obviously the law of the, supply and demand has started eating you guys up, right? How well are we getting more customers, returning customers? Because I always tell you, one of the big things is if you have 100 customers and they are returning per time, then you are in business. But when you have a one-off customer, then there is a problem. So the question is, you nurture them and you move them from just being first-time buyers to loyal fans, because those are the same people, because of the quality of the service, because of the quality of your product, they will be able to speak on your behalf. So they become fans, they become advocates. They will be those people that will take what you do from a service standpoint and tell other people that try these people, I think they are very good at it, right? Thirdly, how well are you taking data-driven decisions, right? Now we are in a world where data is said to be the new oil. A lot of us, when we are getting into business or we are in a phase of our business and we want to start transitioning to other product line or product extension, we just feel that this is a good to have. It's a no-no. How well are you looking at the numbers, and how well are you leveraging the numbers to take a decision, right? Currently, I'm working on a project with a friend. I'm trying to get myself into the Nollywood industry, and we are making a movie. In fact, the movie is coming out this Easter, right? And we sat down and we asked ourselves, across the country, 36 states, we have only 21 states that there are cinemas, right? Lagos obviously has 36 cinemas, but there are other states in the country that really have cinemas, but a lot of people don't go there. And so because of that data consciousness I have, we are taking decisions to say, look, there will be opportunity in Ilorin. There is just a cinema in Ilorin, but they have people in Edo, likewise in Ondo, right? Outside the top 3, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. You make valid decisions based on the data you have. I'm just using that as an example. Most of us, we have the database of our customers or database of the people that purchase things from us. How well are we leveraging those information to make better decisions on our products and services? Then finally, what is your long-term vision, right? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to say in the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? not as the money comes in or as we are making profit now. You don't have a futuristic look into where do we need to be. So for the soaring phase of this, conversation, team expansion, customer retention, data-driven decisions, and of course, long-term vision would make you stand out. Now, my first case study is simply talking about Victor Osimhen, a lot of us know, and this is just using that framework of the flight framework. I stay in Magodo, right, in Lagos here, and he lives in Magodo right now. But before that, he used to stay at Olusosu, somewhere in Ojota there, right? So from the streets of Lagos, he got himself into the under-17, right? And that was his lift off. He had the opportunity, okay, that is a one-off opportunity. Do I go there, show, bring out the best? He had the skills, but he had to say, bring that skill to bear, where some people would see him and say, he's not just, yes, he's rough, but there's a potential in him. For him, football was more or less a hobby. It wasn't even something I felt he would be thinking at that point in time that would be a revenue generating bucket for him, right? But what he did, he took it in his stride, went for the under-17, he shone like a million stars, they won the tournament, and he kept improving on himself. To the altitude side, he had the opportunity to do what? To get signed by the big clubs, obviously. At 16, 17, they will come for the big clubs. The big clubs will come for you. It's either when they come for you, you'll be in the academy for God knows how many years. And if you are unfortunate, you end up not being a footballer or you become a cab driver. But from a strategic standpoint, what did he do? He left the big club that he was signed as an academy person and went to a smaller club. He learned on the job, acclimatized, and he began to fine-tune the skill that he had. And that was when he started getting altitude. So from Wolfsburg to Charleroi to Lille in France, he was improving himself at every level. So and as you grow as a business, or as you start thinking about how do you move from your side gigs and making it a scalable business or a scalable startup, you start saying, what are the continuous improvement mechanics you need to put into your processes? I worked for Samsung for a good number of years, and what I always tell people that the day a new phone gets into the market, that same day, they are already developing the next one. And what does it mean? It means that when they get customer feedback on the current flow, those feedback is what they use as the improvement mechanics for the next one. So the question that I'll ask you, how are you improving on a daily in your businesses, in your startup, in that thing that has your passion in it, right? Then for Osimhen, when he started he became the most expensive player, like 70 million, to Napoli. No thanks, he left Napoli. He's in Gala right now. And some few days ago, I learned that a losing club wants to get him. But beyond that, he had leveraged brand deals, endorsements, and all that. So think about that 16, 17-year-old guy who was selling plantain from Olusosun today is a living witness of someone who is about 70 million euros rich. And that is your passion point to. Let's go into something a bit more that we can use as a real startup. So the next slide is one of my good buddies, Shola Amuson. I don't know how many of you know him. He's the co-founder of Vesti, a fintech and migration organization in this country. I knew Shola way back, as a very young person in Ife, in Akure. He was always trying to do things around volunteering. Shola is one guy that I knew way back then. Even as a student, he would leave his school and go to somewhere like Ghana because there are conferences that would expand his view, right? What he was simply doing, it was his lift up stage. whereby he started learning the ropes, started understanding what he needs to do to become a successful person in life, right? So from that young age, he found himself in Microsoft. When he got into Microsoft, he was leading the philanthropy business for the country. And that exposed him, that gave him more skills, that improved his rugged, like, how do I call it, his rough edges. And he built an expertise, and he and he started making impact in his early days or in his early years. For Shola, when he started gaining altitude, he identified the struggles of migrants. And what does that mean? He traveled to the US, right? And he found out that migrants have big challenges in terms of, having a bank account, how they settle in, and all that. That was his own personal story. That was his own personal challenge. So he used that experience and he created, or he co-founded with his younger brother, who is a lawyer, right, to launch investing into the market, right? And this same organization is helping millions of people, both in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, to get past that challenging process of how to settle in a foreign land. And this is what he had done. What he was doing as a side gig is now a big business right now. And Bestie, the last time I checked, is in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Canada, in the US, and in the UK, right? He literally took a passion, which was, how do we ensure that there is borderless movement of every citizens across the globe? That was his passion. And today he used his passion to start up what we know today as Vesting. Today, that organization has scaled up. Just like I said, they're already in 6 or 8 countries, and it can continue to grow more. When people do things like this, just like I said earlier, when you are adding value, money would find you. As a startup, as you begin to add value, investors will look for you, right? So have it as that perspective and think about it, day in, day out, from that side of town. Next, and I'll leave this as a food for thought, right? Happy to share this video, or happy to share this deck. I would quote Shola Akilade, not the Shola of Vesting, but Shola of Paystar, right? And he says, as founders, they have 2 jobs when trying to secure investor support. The first is building a remarkable product and properly articulating their stories. One thing we always make mistake is, yes, we have built a product, great, good, but we fail to tell the story, right? He said he suggests a framework for telling a compelling story. So highlight the problem, prove that you can solve it, and show your progress. So I have a product, right? This is the problem we are solving. Prove that this issue, this is how we are solving it, and you show us the progress on how you are solving it. Once you do that, it is what within Microsoft Climb, they call it proof of execution. You are showing per time that this is the problem, and can show you how I'm solving it, and this is the progress that I'm making. For some of us who did mathematical or analytical courses, they will tell you that you can solve a problem in mathematics. You might not get the answer, but you might score grades than somebody who got the answer, because you have showed working, you have showed the step on how you arrive at the answer. So I will leave you with that. I'll leave you with that. You can think through it. Marvelous will share the deck with you. And because of time, this is the takeaway. Your mindset. You have to have a business mindset, right? Treat your side gig like a business, not just have a strategic focus. Focus on smart strategy, not just on hustle. Yes, it's a hustle, it's a gig, but start to be strategic about it. One-on-one, who do I meet? Who do I see? Who do I speak to? How do I scale this up? right? That is how you should start thinking about it. And finally, brand building. Brand building is the biggest thing ever, right? It had, in time past, it had not gotten the attention that it is supposed to get. But brand building right now is what, as you start your business, you need to start building a brand out of it, be it a personal brand or the brand for that organization or that service or that tangible product that you are trying to bring to bear. And I think that's it. What else? I think that's it. So the call to action here is, what's your passion? What's your passion project? What is your biggest growth challenge right now? How can you apply the things that Osime and Shola and turning that your passion into purpose to your journey? It is just looking at what you feel that I like doing. Most of us like doing a lot of things. Some of us like football, just like myself. Why don't you start a podcast? Yes, you talk about the financial bit of it, but do you know that somebody has that finance and is just looking for the person who can talk about it, right? That's where you need a lot of networking, know people, build your connections and all that. I know this time is too short to go into the funding. There'll be issue of resources. There'll be issue of so many things. But one thing I can tell you for free is, once you have an idea or you have a solution that is adding value, that can solve a problem, in no just time, those right investment will come your way. And finally, and that's it. I know this is like a sprint, but look, Q&A, if there is any question, feel free to ask. And yeah, and obviously Marvelous will take it forward.
Yes.
For those who
thank you so much.
can go a deep dive into.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Shimi. That was a very captivating session. It literally kept me on my seat throughout from beginning to end. It was great learning about the flight framework from liftoff to gaining altitude and soaring. And I particularly love the two case studies from Victor and Shola that you use. Very, very important case studies there to elaborate the topic. And I really, really appreciate personally, and I believe everyone that's joined in and has paid attention till now also has benefited from your wealth of knowledge from this session. Thank you so much, Amy, and we are super grateful. Now let's move to question and answers. I know a lot of you guys, yes, I know a lot of you guys have some questions in your mind, so you might have jotted some down, talking to of course our wonderful audience. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any clarifications, just raise up your hand and we'll call you to ask your question. And of course, Simi will respond to them. So yeah, question and answer. Anyone? If you have any question, just raise up your hand and of course we'll meet you and you can ask your question. All right, 2 hands are up now. Okay, Adeniji Adedayo.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful session. It's a privilege to be here. So I have a few questions, but I don't know really how to put them. Well, let me go this way. I am a stylist, a fashion designer, a clothier, and at the same time, I am into music. I love content creation, and I'm a video editor. So I want to know, how can I balance this? You said whatever you're doing, you should be able to, find joy in it, and actually you must make money from it as well.
Yeah.
So how can I find a balance to all this?
All right.
Because I have quite a lot of things I'm doing. So I have been on the planning phase whereby I'm waiting. Like you said, there are people who want to invest in you. So I have put myself out there a couple of times. I'm not really relying on people to get me out there. I'm actually doing it in my own little way. It's my own little audience. So how do you think I can find the balance, and how can I find being a proper environment? Because what makes me differ from Yomi casual. It's just the amount of people he's surrounded with, a kind of carnival of people. So how can I get into such circle, to influence my value, add up to my values, sir?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Adeliji. Yeah, Yumi?
Adeliji, so I hear you talk about fashion, I hear you talk about content, I hear you talk about video. So let me give you a very real life experience. This happened 2 days ago at the Omniverse. I don't know if any of you attended the Omniverse Summit at Landmark, right? And this is just, it happened not once, it didn't happen, it happened over 10 times on that one day, right? And I'll tell you what happened. I got in there, I do a lot of trads, get into the place, and literally some people started following me that, hello, my name is this, right? This is what I do. I can help you make an attire just like this. Give me your number, I'll call you, and I'll get the first set of outfits delivered to you. For me, I was like, does this happen? Right? And again, and I'm saying it's not just once, it happened multiple times on that day. Now, what am I trying to say? How creative are you? What are you doing differently? Okay, it might sound like a myth, or it might sound like rhetorics. Guy, waiting you they do differently, right? Today, the Make Mission movie revealed its cast. Even though it's a movie around AI, it's an AI themed movie. The way they revealed the cast today, they use generative AI to reveal the cast, right? How creative are you? And this is not jettisoning the fact that you have 3 things that you are juggling with. I think for you is, what is that one thing that if they tap you right now, wake up and say, what is this? And you can literally answer on the spot, then that is something that you are passionate about. So I think for you is, first and foremost, identify what really is your passion point. Then 2, how creatively are you taking that passion point and rendering it as a service to other people, right? And I think that is it. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question, but I think for me, that is the approach that and there is no one approach, but from my own perspective and from how my little experience in life, that is always going to be, the first few steps that you need to take.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yumi, for that response. Adeliji, I hope that has answered your question. So for the sake of time, we'll just take the 2 last questions at once, and then you can just answer. You can answer both of them together, so that we can beat the time here. All right. So Ndanelugo Adibe will go first, and then Damilola Adibisi will go second. So Ndanelugo, over to you. Hi, is this still on the call? Are you there? Ask your question.
Okay, so can you hear me now? I was muted. I couldn't unmute.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think my question has mostly been answered. I just wanted to point out, because I just recently launched a design agency, and it's design, so websites, branding, graphics, and I just wanted, my question was the whole. So when you actually come into a field that is basically saturated, it's hard figuring out a unique, viable proposition. So that was basically the only question I wanted to have to figure that out. But I think he basically answered that when he answered the previous person that asked the question.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Ndanelugo. Wish you the best in your new design agency. Damilola, over to you.
Good evening. So while
Good
the
evening.
speaker was talking, he mentioned the fact that he has a small cooperative business. So I want to ask that, how can we join?
Okay. All right. Is that the question? And is that the question? Am I
Yes,
audible,
that's
please? So I know. Marvelous, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me answer the two questions, right? So the first question, sorry, I think I've forgotten your name. What is your unique? Okay. So let me say this quickly. What differentiates you? Right? I don't know if you had mentioned that you build websites. And please, you can come off mic and let's talk about this quickly. Have you heard about lovable.dev? Hello, come off mute. Admit that is the designer guy.
Yes, Lanilugo, can you unmute and respond? And let me check if he's muted.
Okay,
Lanilugo, can you speak now?
Yeah, I was muted, like I can't unmute on my own. Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
so yes,
Yeah.
I think I've come across Lovable before. I think it's like it's a coding AI something. Yeah. But I haven't used I haven't really researched on it. But I've come across it before.
Okay, lovable.dev, like for each and every one of us, you don't need anybody to build a website for you. All you need is the mastery of the English language and you crafting or painting a perfect scenario. You literally do that, you have your website up and running. Now, why am I saying this? What differentiates you? Can somebody give you a brief 9 a.m. today, and when you respond, you said your website, come 4 p.m. today, it is ready. Think about it from that standpoint. Because ideally, do you understand what I'm saying? Because all you need to do
so
is
I'm now competing on time.
you're on time. You're not competing on money, because they say time is money. And by 4 p.m. you have a full functioning website for the person who will ask you how you do it. And he would easily say, you know what? Like you, right?
Hello.
Okay, that is one. For Damilola, yes, hello.
Sorry, I lost you for a bit.
Right. Who had who heard me? Can you still hear me now? Audible?
Yes, we can hear you, Yemi. Go ahead.
Lola.
Hello, Yemi.
Yes. Cooperative is not open to a person.
All right. Apologies about that. Our facilitator seems to be having some network difficulties, so we apologize for that. Yumi, can you hear me? Oof. All right. So sorry about that. But whatever questions you have, you can drop them in the inbox. And for you, Damilola, of course, we will bring your response to that question to you and to everyone. So if you joined into this conversation, thank you. Hi, Amy. Can you hear me? Are you still speaking? Let's just try to wrap up. We'll discuss with the facilitator to provide answers to those questions to you guys. So thank you everyone for joining. We appreciate your presence here. So we've recorded this conversation to be uploaded on our YouTube channel and it will be sent to you via mail very soon. Also, the slide of the presentation, it will also be sent to every one of you that registered. So thank you for joining and thank you for your attention. Thank you for your questions. And thank you again, Yemi, for such a wonderful session. We appreciate your presence with us this evening. And I hope we will call on you next time you join us. And for all of you that joined for this month's EdTech Circle, our next EdTech Circle will be in April. And we want you to keep the faith with us. And until next April, we'll have you. But before we leave, I will hand it over to my colleague Olajide. I mentioned earlier that we have some sweet rewards for 5 lucky participants today. Of the 10 early first participants to join the call, 5 will have the opportunity to have a one-on-one mentorship session with Yemi in the coming week. So please pay attention while we play the upcoming game. And if you're lucky enough, you'll be part of those that get to have the mentorship session with Yemi. All right, thank you, everyone. Judy, over to you.
Thank you very much, Marvelous. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Yemi, for that insightful session. So much to take home, but it's just the timing factor. Thank you very much. Marvelous, I would like to share my screen. Okay. So most of us, we got the mail that there'll be 5 participants that would get one-on-one mentorship with our facilitator. So the top 10 that joined, then rather, are Diana Garrett, Schlink, Anye, Adeniji Adedayo, Lucy Wallin, Damilola Adebisi, Charlie Oliver, Bidemi Emmanuel, Innocent Ewa, Kadiri Ekundayo Fatai, and Adams Ibrahim. So we'll be rolling the wheel now to get our top 5 finalists that will be having a one-on-one mentorship session with our facilitator. I wish everyone good luck. So we have our first winner here, Innocent Ewa. Congratulations. Kadiri Ekundayo Fatai, congratulations. That was close. Snake Anye, congratulations. Diana Garrett, congratulations. Then the last but not the least, wow, Bidemi Emmanuel, congratulations. Congratulations to our top 5. So you can send us, we'll send you a mail to get your confirmation or booking to book your slot with the facilitator, hopefully before the end of today, so you can book ahead and have your one-on-one mentorship session with the facilitator next week. So congratulations to everyone. Thank you everyone for joining the session today. It's been an amazing session. So can you just type in the chat box one thing or one word that stood out for you, or one statement that stood out for you in the session, something that it's a word on the marble for you that you know that once after this session, it will keep ringing bell in your mind that this is it. This is one thing I took out from the Lintna EdTech Circle, and we look forward to seeing you again in April for another session like this. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm waiting. Kindly share in the chat one thing that stood out for you. Okay. Okay, the call to action. Okay. Adidayo. Okay, the call to action. Well done. Any other feedback? The examples provided. Thank you, Elinam. All right. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Okay, Bidemi Emmanuel said there will always be problems, but as far as you are adding value to the community, you will thrive. Yeah, that's very correct. Abraham said, start small, keep pivoting, differentiate your brand and skill. Thank you very much, Abraham, for that too. Thank you everyone for joining the session. We hope you guys had a very insightful and amazing session. Thank you again, Yemi for short, for that insightful session. And let me share mine too. One thing that stood out, I wrote it down. When you begin to add value, money is going to find you. That's the one statement that stood out for me. And I hope we all take up one or two things that we've learned from the session, and going forward, we're going to start implementing. Thank you everyone for your time, and do have an amazing weekend and evening. Bye.
Bye everyone. Have an amazing weekend.